Wabarakatuh. Mr. Chair, honorable judges, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor today to stand in front of you to remind you of all what we all know. It is something we do, but perhaps I just put it into writing.
Please, we have a lot of spaces in front, so we plead with you to move a bit forward so that Doctor can continue with the presentation. So please, let's move forward a bit to fill the...
For entrepreneurs, and I am an entrepreneur. I had my escape from entrepreneurship, coming from a family where my father has 13 other children. No one to seek motivation from. So when I went up to university, I got a scholarship from the UK. In fact, I wouldn't get it from Ghana anyway. And what you are doing today is what I did. I pitched myself from the very start. I knew I had nobody, no politician, no director, nobody. It was just me. So I needed to pitch my character, my intelligence in humility to people who believe in something that is of social worth. There is no doubt that about 70 to 80% of the employment in the country is being harnessed by entrepreneurs, and data supports this. In Ghana alone, about 90% of the business market is made up of SMEs, and they contribute to 85% and overall 70% to our GDP. Even though they have this significance, there is no way you would live without challenges. A research in Ghana revealed, in fact, it was done by my professor, revealed that most of the challenges for entrepreneurs is either lack of finance or access to finance. What is startup finance? It's basic. We do it. It's just finances we either raise or personal finances to either start up or grow our businesses. We have several forms of startup financing. It could be from family and friends. It could be crowdfunding. It could be bootstrapping. It could be small business loan you are taking. And it could be what the lawyer talked about, whether an individual angel investor or a venture capitalist. Mind you, either way you choose has its pros and cons, and you need to be abreast. What are some of the challenges and risks entrepreneurs go through when seeking financing? Sitting right there and listening to everybody, it was evident that market validation is one of the challenges. As a new entrepreneur, convincing people to believe in your idea is very key, especially in our part of the world. Proof of concept. We see people standing here, not that their concept is not good, but to convince the judges that this is it, to convince the investors that this is it, is not an easy task. You have limited track record as a starter. You are colleagues, you had all the expertise. How are you able to convince me that you can win this contract and execute just because you are just a new entrant? Those who are already in the industry might not be better than you, but because you don't have track record, you have to strive 100 times to win a contract. Timing. Some of the entrepreneurs have issues with timing. You have to know when and how you approach an organization. You can't want me to invest in you when you are approaching me at Christmas, when my budget is full and all that. You have to be strategic and know when and how to approach an investor. We have network and access to investors. Some of us getting access to investors, even the information is not an easy task. And it's very keen because if you don't identify them, how do you then seek for funding? Competition. This is what we are seeing here. A lot of startups perhaps competing for 100,000. It's not that your own is not good enough, but at the end of the day, the winner would be the best amount all. As a researcher, whatever I say has to be backed with empirical evidence. Abo and Kwate 2010 had a research in Ghana and South Africa and realized that lack of access was a key thing when it comes to investors. A current study by Opon et al. 2023 said that large companies have the ability to win contracts as compared to beginners or startups. Holdings will be able to win a contract as compared to Khadija Tech, who don't even have 1 year experience in the industry. What do we look up to and award you a contract? Yegwa and Asiama, also a current study, said that the attitude of entrepreneurs play a key role in assessing funding. How do we get access to finance? I have an idea. You just don't get up and go to McDonald's and say, I want to sell peanuts, I want to sell this. You have to make sure that you do all the right things. Have a very unique business plan that communicate your mission and visions clearly. Pitch startup. You don't have to wait till Zongovation is having a pitch startup and you come. You walk up to anybody or any organization that you think has an interest that is aligning with your business ideas to say, look, I have this and I think I just want you, just give me the opportunity to tell you what I can do and pitch to them. We have financial needs. We see entrepreneurs approaching investors and they ask you, so how much do you need? And they will say roughly like 10,000. No, roughly do not do work here. You have to have your exact, you have to be very aware about the finances around, the inflation issues, contingencies around, at least to the investor to know you are a little bit serious. We have seeking mentorship. You are a new tech startup in the Zongo and you don't have a contact with Honorable Mahmoud. Sometimes it's not getting access to these mentors. Myself, I am an example. There were times you would inbox somebody because you don't have a profile or you are not a minister's daughter. You just want data for research and nobody minds you. But as an entrepreneur, you have to persist. Your second name should be persistent. When they reject you, you have to come back again. Go home and sleep and say, look, I am not giving up. I need to win. Transparency and professionalism. One key thing that stands out for those who win is always honesty when they are pitching. Realistically, they are projecting to you what they actually did a research on. You don't come pitching and being over ambitious or under ambitious. Brother Jabbar said something and it was just spot on. Somebody mentioned a particular capital she needed and it was not realistic. And he was spot on. He didn't want to go, but I knew that was what he was talking about. And also transparency. You see people lying in their business proposal. Sometimes investors are not dumb. You come and tell me Food and Drugs Board is charging you 50,000. I go out the back door and ask and it's 10,000 and it's enough for me. Because if I continue, what that means is the equity share you have agreed to give me would be a malus. And I'm not going in for that. You are solving a problem in return to get money that will solve your own problem. There is no investor who is in this hall just for fun. It's because it's going to be a two-way benefit. He's not investing in you because you have the best proposal. It is having an interest of how it can benefit him or her. And we have to be honest about that. Showcase traction. One of the pitchers brought her juice, and that was excellent. Sometimes you have to convince people that the solution you propose to solve is actually applicable. She brought the juice, and people are sipping it, and then are comparing it to blue skies. Let's suppose Zongo. business that is associated with you as an entrepreneur. If your goal is just to raise funding and start a business and they'll call you CEO of something products. All right, sorry. This is key and I need to wrap up. You have to think about sustaining it. We have to diversify. The monies you raise for a startup is not for beauty pageantry or to change your closet. Cost controls, you need financial literacy. The world evolves, there's a paradigm shift, and you always have to be abreast of what is happening. Seek consultancy. People are always available. Of course, there are people you have to pay, but there are actually selfless people who are willing to put in to make sure that you win and poverty levels reduce. My core interest is on inclusive growth, and we do work for people just for free. The idea is that in the long run, we all win, and nobody is going to tell you, help me pay fees. Everybody is liberal. Future of SMEs. Why should you persist despite all these challenges? Research is showing that by 2030, 600 million jobs will be needed to absorb the global workforce. This is according to World Bank. AFDB has also said that Africa has the most of middle class. Africa growing workforce certainly will need you all to create businesses to employ us. African continental free trade is being tested basically because of entrepreneurs, and so on and so forth. I then conclude by saying that success is not final. Failure is also not fatal. It is to encourage. It is to encourage to continue. It is the courage to continue that counts. This is in the words of Winston Churchill. And Khadija Iddriss said, success isn't handed to us in a silver platter. Instead, it is crafted through persistence and fueled by the strength of our prayers and unwavering determination. This is my personal experience, and I'll always be available to input to whosoever wants. Thank you. God bless Zango.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khadija Iddriss. Dr. Khadija Iddriss is an academician, financial consultant, and she just spoke on the topic raising finance for startup and its sustainability. So at this point, we'll be having a poetry recital